What's up guys, welcome back to the Paradise Garage YouTube channel. So in today's video we're going to be working on my 2001 Sportster 883. I mentioned this bike in a couple past videos. It's like a tracker hooligan style build that I'm doing. There's a flat track event coming up this April that I'm trying to get to. It's going to be the first one I've ever tried, and I've always wanted to build a flat track bike. So I got this bike probably 3 years ago now. And it kind of started off as just a parts bike. I didn't really have any big plans for it. I had my 1200 and I needed some parts for it, like the primary and the cam cover. So I ended up swapping those off of it, and then the bike pretty much sat from there. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit about the bike and then we'll get into today's video. All right guys, here's the bike. And as you can see, I already kind of started doing a little bit of work to it. I'll drop a picture on what the bike started as, and then kind of walk you guys through what I've done so far. So like I was saying, I swapped the primary and the cam cover off this bike and put it on my 1200 there a while ago when I first got the bike, and after that it pretty much sat. So this cover right here is actually off the 1200. It was a chrome one and the chrome was peeling, so I ended up just grinding all the chrome off of it and painting it, because in 2000 to 2003 these cam covers are those 3 years only. The oil passageways actually go in the cam cover as well as the motor to oil the cams, and in the previous years it was just in the actual motor that oiled the cams. So I was having a hard time finding a cover that was in decent shape, so I ended up having to just redo that one pretty much, and it came out all right. It's good for what we needed, but it's definitely not perfect, but it'll work. So after that I had to just kind of put the engine together a little bit. I had the rocker box covers off of it and stuff, so I put those back together, painted the rocker box covers. I had this tin set laying around that was originally on my 1200, and I kind of threw that on there. I took the 19s that I had sitting around and swapped those on there. They're not on there for good, they're just mocked up for now. I ordered a set of flat track tires for it. I threw the front on just to try to see what we were working with spacing here in the front. It's not aired up, but I think I might have to run a mid-glide tree on this bike. I know that's what a lot of people do when they're running the tracker style tires. I also had one of these number plates, or actually I have a couple of these kind of floating around. I messed up and I dropped the bike and it got all these wrinkles in it, so I'm gonna have to redo it. But I threw one of those on with just some OEM style Harley quick disconnect clamps, and I think that'll work out just fine. In today's video I'm going to be pulling the wheels back off of it. I want to get them painted up. I found this bronze metallic. I think I'm going to do the wheels. I think it'll look pretty cool against the silver and purple, kind of a different contrast. So I'm going to paint the wheels up on it, and then we'll mount the tires. And I got the rear wheel conversion kit that we have to install on the back wheel, so we can because we're swapping the front 19 onto the rear, and then we gotta throw the pulley on and stuff. I gotta see if I have a rear rotor. I'm not sure if I do. And then I was thinking we're either gonna try to do some modifications with this rear suspension or something along those lines. I have some lowering blocks for a Sportster that I'm going to try to flip around and turn into lift blocks. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm going to try to see what we're working with there. And I might dive into doing a little bit of cutting with this rear fender. Alrighty guys, so we got our wheels all stripped down. Now I think I'm going to set up a little bench or something here so I can get these things cleaned up and wiped down, ready for paint. Alright, so this isn't going to take a whole lot to get it prepped and ready, just to throw a coat of spray paint on. I'm not going to worry about getting this old black paint off. It's on there good. And I don't have a problem with covering it up. So all I'm going to use is just some lacquer thinner. I might end up using some brake clean if there's some tougher areas on here, you know, like the brake dust and stuff. in a rag, and I'll be using a Brillo pad if I want to scuff up any areas afterwards. Alright guys, I think this front wheel is pretty good to go. I'm going to scuff it down before I paint it, but for all the brake grime and stuff, I think it's pretty much good enough for what we're doing. So I'm going to move on to the back wheel, get that thing all wiped down, and then we'll give them a scuff with the Brillo. Go from there. As you can see, this wheel's a lot nastier. Should have started with this one. For sure. Because my hands are aching. My hands are aching. So the next thing I want to do is, as you guys will know, if you're doing the 19-inch rear wheel conversion, you need a kit, some hub spacers and stuff like that to do it. So I think the next step I'm going to do is assemble that, because I think I want to paint it all as one. The hub spacers come raw, like aluminum, and I think it'll look better if the wheels all matching, you know, all bronze. So I'm going to assemble this rear wheel, get it ready for paint, and I'll show you guys along the way some of the steps that you have to do. Got those all broken loose. I ended up getting a tap and die set with the kit because you do have to drill out the stock rotor holes and tap them out to a bigger size. The size is 7/16 by 14 if you were curious. So here we got our bolts for either side. We got the small ones and the big ones in there. We got our wheel spacers, or axle spacers. And then we got our thick side wheel spacer. So that'll go on a little bit something like that. And this is the side that we have to drill out. And then we got the opposing side, which is just a little bit smaller one. So doesn't matter what side you want to do, you know, it's up to you pretty much, because it is a front wheel, so both sides are the same. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start on this side. Hopefully we don't screw up too bad. Off to a great start. Never hurt. This thing really wants to grab hard. I don't know why this thing wants to catch so bad. Jesus Christ. So this size bit is just about the size of what the threads are sticking out. So it's just kind of going around and grabbing each one of those threads as it goes around. It's really hard to get a good drill going on these. Alright, that's all you got to do. Alright guys, so we're finally finished with drilling through that the stock bolts there. As you can tell, this thing has seen better days. She is DE dead. Start with a little looby dooby. And let's see how crooked we can get these things, right guys? So try to make sure she's at least a little bit straight here before we start. It looks kind of straight to me. Alright guys, I got all these holes tapped out. This one was giving me some trouble. I think I might have gone at a slight angle. It doesn't really want to bust all the way through the wheel. So gonna have to kind of pay close attention to this one whenever I'm throwing this together here. So these bolts already come with Loctite on them, which is cool. So don't really need to worry about that. And this thing should line up pretty well, and it does. I'm just gonna start to thread in some of these bolts. Flip it on over, we can install the other side. No drilling or tapping required on this guys. Alrighty guys, so that's all buttoned up. This thing is ready to go, ready to get painted. Like I said, I wanted to get it together before I painted it, so I had a chance to get some paint on these as well. So that all looks really nice. I'm really happy with how all that came together. And I'm just gonna give it one last wipe down. Obviously I got PB Blaster all over this wheel now, so I'm gonna give it one last wipe down. I'm gonna tape up our surfaces here, and yeah, we'll throw some paint on these wheels, guys. The fun part. Alrighty guys, so I just want to show you what I kind of came up with here. So these are actually lowering links from a 04 and up Sporty, and I just flipped them around and I turned them into lift blocks, I guess. It seem like they're gonna work. The only thing I'm a little bit afraid of is if I catch a good bump or something like that, and these want to come up, if these aren't super tight, I kind of have a feeling these can rotate, which may lead to an issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. These are going to be good for the meantime, though. I took off the shocks. You can see right there. Those are from a Dyna, so they're a little bit too stiff for this bike, actually. And if you guys who are following along with our 883 video about the red one that we picked up, you guys will know that we pulled these off of that bike. And these should be a little bit more better sprung for a Sporty, obviously, because they came off one. So we're gonna give these a shot. I mean, we're building this bike on a budget, so it is what it is. At least I got a little bit more lift out of the bike, and should be like an inch or so taller now. So that's pretty good. And I'll just have to wait and see if I can come up with a set of 13.5 14-inch shocks for this thing. Until then, these should work. All right, guys, the wheel's fairly dry now. I'm gonna go ahead and start fitting up some of the stuff. Well, I'm already running into a problem, guys. That sucks. All right, guys, so when I ordered the rear adapter kit to make the front wheel a rear wheel, I didn't realize that the hubs were actually machined for a 99 and down pulley and rotor. So the stuff that I have is obviously for a 2001 or 2000 and up bike, so I can't really use that. So I got to track down a pulley. I think I have a rotor. It's a solid rotor, which they're kind of ugly, but it'll get me by for a little bit at least. So for now, I'm just going to throw the tires on these wheels and get them on the bike so I can at least roll it around. And we're just going to have to wait on a pulley and just going to have to pull it back apart to throw it together, which is what it is. Here's the tires that I picked up for it. There's some Shinko, just flat track tires. I'm a pretty big fan of Shinkos. I run them on my regular bikes. That's a Shinko tire right there. And I got a 130 for the front and a 140 for the rear. It's going to be pretty tight, but it should clear. I think the front is going to rub a little bit on the fork legs, but it is what it is. All right, guys, we finally got the tires on the wheels, and man, that was a pain in the ass. Obviously, these tires aren't meant for these wheels. They're front wheels, so they're pretty skinny. These, I think they're like 2.5 inches wide. These are really meant for like a 3.5 inch or 3.25 inch wheel. Before I throw this back wheel on, I want to adjust this rear fender. So I used to have this tin set on my 1200, so I scraped it and stuff from wheeling. But I think I'm gonna kind of come up like right here and then straight up like that, and just get rid of all that crush section, and then later on we'll weld on a plate on the back. But for now, I just want to clean that fender up and get it cut so it's out of our way, and we won't have to worry about it. So I got the front wheel on. I just ended up using a couple random spacers that I had sitting around to kind of get it centered, and it does drag a little on the front fork tubes, but I'm thinking if I just trim this edge back a little bit, we'll be fine, because I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but these side lugs don't actually even touch the tubes. It's just this kind of corner strip right there. So I think if I trim that off, or at least shave it down a little bit, I'm not too sure how I'm going to go about doing it, then I think we'll be all right. I don't think it's going to drag. So alrighty, guys, I got the fender all trimmed up. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it can look better. I want to put this piece of metal right here on the back and plate that up. But overall, I think it'll do the trick. All right, like I said, I had a 99 down rotor. It's just a regular solid rotor, but it'll work for now. A brake disc is a brake disc, so I'm not going to complain. Maybe one day at a swap meet or something, I can get a fancier one, but I'm going to go ahead and put this back wheel on, and then we'll get it, finally get it back down on its wheels and tires. All right, guys, I got the Sporty outside. I pulled off the front number plate so I can go ahead and drill new holes in the other one that I have and get that all buttoned up. I also have to cut one of the bolts a little bit shorter. And after that, I think I'm going to work on trying to get the sprocket cover on and this side mid-control on, and try to get as much buttoned up as I can now, so when it comes time, whenever I get the pulley and stuff like that, the bike will be hopefully pretty much most of the way done. I also still need to get a primary cover. The one I have is chrome, and it's like really corroded. All the chrome's peeling off, so instead of wasting my time just grinding all the chrome off and painting and stuff, I'm just going to try to find one that's just like a raw finish, and then I'll paint it to match the cam cover on the other side. So the reason I'm swapping out the number plate is I dropped the bike, and you can see I creased it and bent it up a little bit, which I know I could fix it, but since this one's going to be on the front of the bike, I'd rather just have like a nice straight one that I can throw like a decal on or sticker, or maybe even paint it. I'm really not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I just know I don't want to leave it like this. So I just traced over the holes onto this one, so I'm just going to drill the holes out real quick. And then I have to cut this bolt a little bit shorter. You can see this one's a little stubby, so I just got to cut this one to match it, and then the number plate will be all done from there. Alright guys, let's see how this new bolt fits in there. Alright, looks like we got that nailed. So got our new number plate here, and finally get to attach it for good until we decide what we want to do with the decal, or maybe even painting it. It's a little noisy, but it's on there, so I might end up maybe putting a little bit of tape or something behind here on the triple clamps, or on the back side of the number plate, just to make it so it's not so noisy. But I think that looks pretty good. We nailed it on the bolt, nailed it on the spacing and everything, so I think we're in pretty good shape there. Alright, so I got my brake pedal and foot peg mount all assembled here. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on the bike, and I think I'm going to try to dig up some foot pegs for it, and we'll get those mounted up. Another thing I need to do is I need a brake rod too. When I bought these mid controls, they didn't come with one, and the one from this bike would have been for forward controls. So the one that actually came off of it is broken off in here anyway, so I'm gonna have to replace the brake adjust rod, and then also the push rod too for the brake master. So alright guys, so for foot pegs, I got these dirt bike style pegs. These are actually off of my FXR, and I just didn't really like them for the FXR, but I think they'll work alright for this thing, considering how it's going to be mostly riding in the dirt anyways. So get those thrown on there. I got one of the passenger pegs. I'm just going to rob the little washer and nut and bolt out of. Alright, so with the exception of our missing brake adjuster here, this side's pretty much put together. I did of course mess up the paint, but that's just the way it goes. I can touch that up later. I just wanted to get this thrown back together. Alright guys, I'm going to end it there for today's video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's video. This thing's really close to being able to run and ride, so I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to take this thing for a rip. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll catch you on the next one.